Well, they played the worst quarter of all season, Skip. The third quarter really did them in. They committed 11 fouls, 8 turnovers, 6 of those by Jayson Tatum. The Heat shot 17 free throws, and the Celtics were 2 of 15 from the field. Give Miami credit. They came out in the third quarter with a sense of urgency. We know what they represent defensively. We know Heat culture. And Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler is he's a different. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know. Maybe some people that's been watching or following the NBA for 50 years have seen a guy that can elevate from the regular season to the postseason at a higher clip than what Jimmy Butler. I mean, the guy got 0 40-point games in the regular season with the Heat, and he has 5, and he has won each of the first 3 rounds of these playoffs. So for me, Skip, look, no Al Horford, no Marcus Smart. And that information came out after the show. Marcus Smart is the facilitator. You put Jayson Tatum in a really unfamiliar role. Yes, he can do it, but that's not the role that he's best served for. And you're talking about the defensive player of the year. You took that guy out, and because he was probably the guy that was going to start on Jimmy Butler. And I'm not saying Jimmy Butler wouldn't have had a good game, but I would like to think that he could have neutralized some of that. But Jimmy Butler, I mean, you get 41 points on 16 shots. He did a great job, and he does a great job of coaxing people into fouling. He gets you with that pump fake, Skip, and he gets them every time. And what happened last night with no Marcus Smart, you put Derek White and you put Pritchard. Pritchard playing 30 minutes. Udoka does not want Peyton Pritchard playing 30 minutes. But because Derek White was inefficient, wasn't playing very well, they put Pritchard in. And what did they do, Skip? They immediately start attacking him. They put him in the pick and roll, and he ends up on Jimmy Butler, and we know that's not a favorable matchup for the Celtics. Give them credit. Most fouls they committed all year in a quarter. The worst shooting quarter all season. Second most turnovers in a quarter. So when you combine all of that, you get 39-14. You take an 8-point lead, and all of a sudden it's flipped on its head, and you're down by 17. I thought they was going to be able to make a run late. They let them start the quarter on a 22-2 run, and then end the third quarter on an 11-0 run. And for all intents and purposes, yeah, they got a little close, but I didn't get the sense that, okay, the Celtics got a chance to come back in this game because every shot that they needed to make, Jimmy Butler made it. Skip, shot clock. He did this to the Lakers in the bubble. Skip, remember the shot clock started running down, and he'll elevate and boom. As soon as you start to get close, and boom, he does it again. Gabe Vincent hit some big threes late in the ball game. They did a great job. I mean, when you get 10 blocks, 10 steals, and play as well as they played offensively, they're going to be tough to beat. But I'm undeterred. It was one game. They did protect home. Al Horford should be back, hopefully, by tomorrow night. I don't know if Marcus Smart's going to be back, but I want to give the Miami Heat credit. Yeah, Boston didn't play well, but I think that had more to do with Miami Heat and what they did in that third quarter in order to get themselves back into the ball game and get the lead as opposed to what the Celtics. But I know the Celtics will not play another quarter as bad as they played in the third quarter, and I like my chances. As a matter of fact, I want me a case right now on game 2.
Done. Thank you very much. Would you like 2 cases on game 2?
No, I'm just going to hold this.
Oh, somebody doesn't have the courage of somebody's convictions.
I just want to get
somebody talks big, bold, and bad, and then says, no, I just want 1.
I just want the case that I lost.
2 cases right here, right now. Swindled you out of.
Jacob, you should say, you know what? I can't. You know, Ernestine, I can't even feel comfortable taking a case off of him after Al Horford and Marcus Smart didn't play. That's what you should have said sitting with Ernestine, but you didn't.
I would not allow Ernestine to sit in my room with me last night as I was watching the game, but Hazel did stay the whole time. And when she tried to exit with about 4 minutes left in the game to go see her mom in the living room, I said, no, you have to stay here.
The game was over.
No, it was not over because all of a sudden, Jaylen Brown went nuts at the end of the game, and then Pritchard hit one from Fort Lauderdale, right? And all of a sudden, it looked like it might be a game at the end.
Yep.
I'm going to remind you, your team was up 13 points. 13 points with 5:37 left in the second quarter. So I don't want to hear about Al Horford. I don't want to hear about Marcus Smart. I do want to hear about Kyle Lowry has a ring, and I don't have Kyle Lowry. Are the guys we talking about over there, those guys have any rings?
No.
To show they don't have any rings. My guy's got a ring. He is the starting point guard, and you just brought up Gabe Vincent. He played 34 minutes last night as the backup point guard, undrafted out of UC Santa Barbara. Do you love that?
Yeah, and gave you 17 big points.
Okay. Well, again, I'm relegated to a backup point guard.
Oh, you relegated?
Well, I am. Gabe Vincent, really.
You relegated.
Well,
now.
and Oladipo's trying to get his legs back underneath him after he had surgery on his torn quad, and he wasn't very good last night, was he? In fact, he was really not very, because he was 2 of 9. All right. I'm going to remind you that I have stuck with the Heat all through the playoffs. And the primary driving force reason I keep telling you is playoff Jimmy.
Yeah.
I told you before. You said, well, he's a little overrated as far as regular season Jimmy goes to postseason Jimmy. But I've never seen anything like him either, to the point that he put up numbers last night in a Game 1 statement game at home, numbers unlike we've ever seen in the history of playoff basketball, because no one's ever had a stat line like 41 points with no three-pointers. He took 2 and missed both of them. How do you score 41 in this day and age and make no three-point shots, right?
Right.
He makes 17 of 18 free throws. You know how much I love free throws. That's clutching it up. He led his team in rebound. I'm sorry, in assists. In assists. He didn't lead in rebounds because he did. He did. Led by 1 over Tyler Hero. He did. So he led his team in rebounds and assists with 5. And he had 4 steals, which also led his team. And he had 3 blocked shots, which was just 1 short of what Bam did, because Bam had 4 blocked shots.
Right.
And the stat I loved the most was he had only 2 turnovers. He's got the ball in his hands a whole lot with the shot clock winding down.
Yes.
And there's trouble ahead. And he did not turn the basketball over. Meanwhile, somebody on the other team that I kept hearing was a superstar. He has arrived. Jayson Tatum has arrived. He's the best player on the floor.
I said that, but I have not called Jayson Tatum a superstar. I said he's a star.
Well, a lot of other people have.
But he's knocking on the
superstar.
He's knocking on the door.
And I will give you this: he put up superstar numbers in the first half. He had 21 points.
Yes.
But he winds up with 7 turnovers because in the third quarter he had 6.
He was awful.
6 turnovers in the third quarter.
He was awful.
Really. So in the second half, Jayson Tatum, after a superstar first half, goes 1 of 7. He goes 1 of 5 from 3. He scores a grand total of 8 points in the second half with 6 total turnovers in the second half. Not superstar numbers. When you needed him most, he gave you the least.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we step back from this game, and what have I also told you? The Milwaukee Bucks made a big mistake not doing everything in their power to keep P.J. Tucker, because he's guts and glue. He has winning playoff intangibles.
He does.
And for a while, I thought I was sunk, because when they fell behind by 13, all of a sudden I look up and PJ is limping off the floor. It was kind of a weird play where he just kind of turned his foot wrong, and I guess his left ankle got tweaked a little bit.
Right.
He limped to the locker room, but then he ran back onto the floor for the second half, and you know what happened.
Right.
I believe the Heat were inspired by a PJ Tucker who plays as hard as anybody going in basketball right now, even at an advanced age. He's up in LeBron's age range. He still plays his tail off, especially on the defensive end. But when you need him to hit that big corner 3, he will stroke it and he will swish it. And here we go with an inspired Miami Heat. And it was night and day in the second half because, again, as Udoka said after the game, it was their physicality, the force they played with. They just came out and said, we want this worse than you want it.
Skip, you know, a lot of times you would think they would make the adjustment because you see the way they're calling the game. They're letting us get up into people. And so Udoka's saying, okay, well, you see how they're doing. We shouldn't have to wait till the next game to make this adjustment because we're not going to have these same officials. Yep. They might not officiate the game like the Game 1 officials officiated the game. So, hey, let's push up into them like they're pushing up into us. But, Skip, I believe the guy that really saved the Heat in the first half was Tyler Hero. Skip, he came in that first quarter. They were bad, and he started bombing threes. He started getting to the basket. He did the exact same thing in the second quarter. He had 15 big points in the first half.
But they were just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, I thought it was teetering. Skip, I thought that you said they had a 13-point lead. I thought that thing was about to go to 20 through 2,
and
23.
By the way, Tyler Hero just vanished in the second half.
He did.
It didn't have any, but it didn't matter because playoff Jimmy took the game over.
Yes.
So I want to drive this point home. 5:37 left in the second quarter. Your team is up 13 points. I look up, and thanks to Tyler Hero's only 3 points of the second half, which were 3 free throws off getting fouled on a 3-point shot.
Right.
He makes 3 free throws, and with 10:45 left in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, Miami leads 96-76. They're up 20 with 10:45 to go. You know what that swing was? You know what that stretch was from up 13 to down 20? 62-29.
Right.
That's what that stretch was. 62 for Miami, 29 for Boston over that span that put the Heat suddenly up 20 points.
Right.
So back to Ime's quote, we got out-toughed, we got out-physicaled. They looked like they came out in the second half and wanted to up their physicality and aggression on both ends, and they did that.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yes, they did, and and he was getting a little upset. You see him, he's talking to, well, I don't know if talking is the correct term to use, Robert Williams, Grant Williams. And, guys are like, oh, well, come on now.
All of a sudden, Grant Williams is doing a lot more talking than scoring because he had just scored an all-time 29 points, and he scored 5 last night.
Well, I'm not saying he's 29. I'm not saying he's 5. He's somewhere in the middle. But I didn't go into this game, Skip, expecting another 7 3-pointers. He might have 7 over a 2-3 game stretch, but probably not going to happen in another game. Give Miami credit because they forced those turnovers. I mean, Jayson Tatum was careless with the ball. Skip, where the hell he was throwing the ball? A couple of times he threw it right to Jimmy. I mean, and Jimmy was lurking, and he throws the ball, and he steals it from Robert Williams. I mean, I'm like, damn, Jason. So he was really.
By the way, since you brought him up, can we see those 2 steals? Yeah. These were game turners, game changers.
They were really bad.
They were gamble steals by Jimmy Butler, and he said, Coach Spo does not love this unless I pull it off. And he pulled this off, and he takes it down, and he cashed.
Yes.
Okay? And then here we go again. These are game changers right here. Whoops, he gambled, he won, and he gets the dunk out of it.
Yeah.
These are huge because these are points in the third quarter where they're starting to pull away and seize complete momentum in the basketball game.
These are the type of plays, Skip, you don't have to call an offense for. Guess what? It's kind of like football, Skip. It's a lot easier to call a game when you got to call 17, 18 plays for a drive as opposed to defense turning it over and giving you a short field. So now, all of a sudden, I ain't got to call no play. We ain't got to run no sets. Oh, Jimmy Butler just laid the ball up. Bam, just dunked it. Tyler Hero just got a steal. They were bad. But do I actually think that Boston will play another quarter as bad as they played the second quarter? As a matter of fact, I'm more encouraged. And the more I talk about it, the more I feel good about what's going to transpire in game 2. I do want that case. I want another case.
Thank you.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Here was the signature play of the night, if I could show this one. Jimmy Butler on Jayson Tatum. This is why I've told you from the start, Jimmy Butler is the best player left in these playoffs. And you say, no, that's impossible. It's got to be Luka. It's got to be Steph. It's got to be blah, 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 blah. No, best two-way player. The guy who does more for his team than those guys do for their team in the way of winning basketball plays is Jimmy Buckets. And how about the block on Jayson Tatum in the corner? 4:44 left in the game when it looked like Boston might try to sniff and get back in this game. And he just flat out blocks Jayson Tatum's jump shot, which is pretty hard to do. And he got up and he got nothing but basketball.
Come on, Jay.
Woo.
Hand fake.
Woo-hoo.
You got him up in there. Yeah,
you got him. You got him, but you don't got him, right? And then Jayson Tatum got so discombobulated. Could we see his last 3? Because this could have cut it to 7 with a couple of minutes left. And I thought it might get to be a crazy game like those games were in Milwaukee.
So the brick, when he bricked it.
This is a brick now. He's got a fairly open look, and he hits nothing but backboard. Yeah. He missed that like 2 feet to the left. And it was contested, but I don't think it was blocked.
No.
I don't think there's any hand on the basketball, and it hits nothing but glass, right?
Yeah, he was getting frustrated, Skip. You showed the 2 steals, but he got the ball taken out of his hands a couple of times driving to the basket. They ended up going the other way. He slaps his hand. He's like, damn.
It was almost Giannis-like where they were building a wall saying, well, you just can't come in here. We'll just take the ball away from you, right?
Because, Skip, he's looking to get to the lane to try to facilitate. Even if he can't get his own shot, he can facilitate. Jayson Tatum is a very good player. He's a star player. He's a budgeting superstar. But facilitating is not what he's good at. He's good at putting the ball in the basket. They needed Marcus Smart. Yeah. Derek White can come in and spell you. Peyton Pritchard, but they're not Marcus Smart. You don't realize how valuable something is until you don't have it. You don't realize how much water you actually drink until there's none on the shelves. And so that's what you see. You don't like, man, Marcus Smart, yeah, he played defense. Okay. Now he's not in the ball game. Okay, you see how valuable he is.
Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe has now predicted Marcus Smart is going to change everything in Game 2.
Yeah, Skip, the guy's Defensive Player of the Year. He's a starter on a team that's in the Western Conference, in the Eastern Conference Finals. Of course, he's a valuable commodity.
Well, maybe Kyle Lowry will play Game 2. I don't know.
Skip, you see, Kyle Lowry has not been what they expected. They have not gotten the production from Kyle Lowry that they expected to get for him when they gave him 3 years, $90 million. You know that. Heat Nation know that.
Okay, but Heat Nation knows that the Heat went up to Boston and won a game in Boston fairly late in the season, and Kyle Lowry scored 23 to Butler's 24. So, again...
They ain't going to Boston and win the game this year, though.
Well, we'll see about that. We might have some serious do on that when we get there.
We're going back to Boston, split 1-1.
Really? Okay, well, we got 2 cases on that.
Yeah.
I would like to now demonstrate, to wrap this up for you, how Jimmy Butler just had the puppets on a string from two-point land.
Oh, yeah.
This is some masterful two-point offense. This is no three-point shooting, so it's not spectacular. It doesn't play to the casual fans because you can't say, did you see LeBron hit 5 threes last night? Did you see Steph hit 10 threes last night? It's all mid-range. It's not on the spectacular meter, but if we could just see the 12 makes in a row that he made, it shows you how he can toy with his defenders from two. He gets you up and under, and
he just put a little shoulder in Robert Williams and sent him.
Yep. And there's a little bit of Luka going on here, where he's a little bit out of rhythm, like off rhythm, where he gets you off rhythm, and he can just nail those.
Yes.
That's where he is most lethal. Yeah, that's just a putback. He was just right place, right time.
Right, correct.
That's his shot. When he goes up for that, I'm like, money. Oh, this is his easy shot here. But he had to work for this a little bit on Jaylen Brown. And here we go again with the steal. And we saw this, and he gets the dunk. He's impacting on both ends of the floor.
This is what I knew it was.
Impossible.
That's what I knew.
That's just too good.
You just throw your hand. Look at this. Over.
Yep.
Got paid over the pick and roll.
Yep. And then wheels on Jayson Tatum.
I'm looking at you. Don't get like what you want me to do. You see the D I played on him on that one.
That's a little Luka up and under.
I don't blame him on that one. I got 39 points. I'm going to get 41. I know the game's out of reach, but I'm going to get 40. 41 sounds better than 39.
Playoff Jimmy.
Oh, he's sensational. Yeah,
Miami Heat.
Skip, I think
Pat Riley, Coach Spo. That's what you're up against here.
Well, Skip, Jimmy in the playoffs, if you look at him since he's been in Miami, Skip, his numbers are, KDS, LeBron, any superstar that you think about playoffs, Jimmy Butler has had games that's rivaled those. There were a couple of games that they ended up losing 4-2, but there were a couple of games he went head-to-head with LeBron, and you can make the case that he outplayed LeBron.
He had 2 masterpieces in the bubble.
Monsters.
And remember, Dragic was their leading playoff scorer up to that point.
Right.
He was out, and then Bam hurt his shoulder in game 1, and he was basically out.
I think sometimes this is a blessing in disguise for Jimmy because a lot of times he will defer because he trusts his teammates so much. Dragic is out. I got to take some of the scoring load. Kyle Lowry is out. I got to take on more of the scoring load. So, Skip, this might be, sometimes we don't think about it, but this might be a blessing in disguise that allow us to see playoff Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy.
It's playoff Jimmy. I love what Spo said after the game about Jimmy Butler. He said, he's competing to win. He does that as well as anybody in this league. I agree with that.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, if you're driven by competition, the stakes get raised. It's not about trying to get big numbers. It's about doing what's required. It's a high level of competition. Jimmy senses it, knows it, feels it, but he doesn't care whether he gets 11 or 41. Right. Trust me, he just doesn't care. It's the dub. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, but Skip, the greats know that Jayson Tatum is capable of going and getting 28, 30, 40. I got to at least match that. He's like, I can't facilitate and let everybody have in the high teens while this guy goes get 41 and we can win the ball game. He's going head, and you look at him, he was going head-to-head with Jayson Tatum. He went head-to-head with LeBron. He's going head-to-head with some of these other guys because he knows that's what's required of him. I've never seen anything like it. And I've seen some guys that elevate their play from regular season to postseason, but nothing like this. This is ridiculous.
So would you now admit and agree that Jimmy Butler is the best player left in the playoffs?
No, Luka is.
Oh, what was that last night?
Have you seen Luka play tonight?
Well, have you seen the Celtics play defense? That's what you told me. They're the best defensive team left.
Skip, he played well. But Yes, he played very well. I expected him to play well. I didn't think it was going to be he was going to average 10 points a game. But you know Luke coming. You know cool hand Luka coming.
Really? Well,
yeah.
I just know he's not going to win this series.
Whoa. But all I'm saying is that he put up those Herculean numbers because we've forgiven guys that haven't won series that's put up great numbers. Because I know a guy last year in the second round, and you talk about he was a toenail, and all you do is talk about the series that he had, although he didn't win.
Yeah.
Now, if Luka doesn't win, he's some garbage? No, we're not finna do that.
Somebody over here is fixing to do that.
I know somebody over there gonna do that, but that's okay. Oh, Luka.
We'll start to
all you
find
got
out
left.
how Luka and that series unfolds tonight, gentlemen. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.